I converted November 1st of 2011. I remember when I first converted, that night I went home and I started praying, and my father happened to walk into the living room when I was praying, and I saw him from the corner of my eye, but I just kept praying because I was already in sujood, so I kind of just couldn't get up. And he didn't say anything, I didn't say anything. The next day he was driving me to school, and he's like, "Oh, so you want to be a terrorist now?"
I can say that starting September 11, when Islam is being exposed tremendously, very openly to the society, the Hispanic community then being exposed to Al-Islam. And from that moment, the largest conversion basically happens in the Hispanic community, particularly the women. And I have to say that mostly educated, young, professional Hispanic women converted to Islam.
When the 9/11 event happened, I was in Chicago, just on my way to work. The only thing that came to my mind was like, how can God tell such a man to kill all these innocent people? What kind of religion does that, you know? This is just, I mean, like, why can't God tell me what to do, you know? And I'm not, you know, it just didn't go in my head, and I kind of like felt something against Islam at that moment.
My first contact with Islam was in elementary school. I grew up in the Bronx, and in those days that was the beginnings of hip hop, and there was something called the Zulu Nation. So I didn't really know that they were a hybrid or something called the Nation of Islam. And then later in life, when I was competing in fitness competitions, I had a friend who said to me, "Delma, you have to change the way you dress, the way you live." I basically was living the lifestyle of a celebrity personal trainer, traveling between Miami, Las Vegas, and Hollywood regularly. So my lifestyle was very like what you see in the magazines, the videos, and all the parties. So I wasn't thinking really about religion, but when it was quiet, I knew I was lacking a connection with God.
When Islam came with first an idea that human beings are all equals, including male and female.
What really hooked me in Islam was when I started learning the rights of the woman. I come from a household where everything's favored to the men, you know, and a culture where there's a lot of double standards in my household, in my family. It wasn't until like I started coming into Islam that I started realizing that no, I don't have to, if I'm working, I don't have to cook 7 days a week. I don't have to give you half of my paycheck or all my paycheck and more to help you pay for your bills when you have 2 sons that don't want to work, that you give them money from your own hand, say, here you go buy whatever you want. You know, there was a lot of injustices, you know, and when I started learning about Islam and the rights of a woman, that definitely helped me liberate. And it definitely, of course, caused a chaos in my house.
Islam views that women have an important role in a society, not only at home, but in a society. And the Prophet says that if the women in the society do not play the important roles that they have on their shoulder, that society may lead into its destruction.
From the few women that I have discussed their conversions, it's definitely that lack of modesty in our Christian backgrounds, a lack of direction and connection with God. Like, you don't really know what you're supposed to do in your day-to-day life. There is an emphasis, definitely not in modesty, especially as a Latina. You are raised to, if you got it, show it, flaunt it as much as possible.
A lot of people, when I started covering, I had a backlash both from the Muslim community and from my family and friends, because a lot of my family and friends knew me because I used to model, so they knew me as, you know, wearing tight clothes or barely any clothes, and so for them to see me so covered up, it was like, what's going on here? Like, what are they doing to you? And then from the Muslim community, it was like, oh, you shouldn't wear hijab because your pants are too tight, or you shouldn't wear hijab because your shirt is too low or your shirt is too tight. So I kind of felt conflicted because it was like, I felt comfortable wearing hijab because I I felt like I was at a place where I wanted to guard my modesty. I wanted to take back everything that was me. I still get backlash, especially with my piercings and my tattoos from before converting. But it's a day-by-day thing, and I have to keep reminding myself that I'm not doing this for the people, I'm doing this for me and God.